Good morning, Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope. What's going on, you guys? Hey, everyone. Whether you're watching me live or you check this broadcast out later, wanted to come on and share some things with you guys just to get your day started, make you think about some things. Now, listen, I'm trying to work with this orientation of the camera, so y'all bear with me for a minute because I'm trying to debate on whether I'm going to flip the camera or not. I'm going to have to see. I'll have to see. Maybe I'll do it later. Listen, I wanted to come on this morning and talk to you about connections. A lot of times we underestimate the significance of the connections in our life, the people that we're connected to, the people that circle and our extended circle. But connections matter and they mean everything. Why do I say that? Because listen, there's some things that will come to you as a result of your connections, not just good things, but also negative things. So when we think of connections, we think about, oh, I've got the right connections. And because I've got the right connections, then all of these great things are going to happen to me. Well, that's not the only thing that you got to think about when you think about connections, because also because of your connections, some bad things can come your way. So listen, let me know, you guys, who is here? Who is here? I feel like the signal is shaky, is, not necessarily coming through the clearest, but you guys let me know who's here. Can you guys see and hear clearly? Oh, Lord, I'm just going all over. Come on. Let me know that you're able to see and hear clearly. I'm in trees, so that's probably part of the problem, is that I'm underneath these trees and all of these trees are interfering with my signal. So I'm going to keep talking to you guys. You guys will catch it on the replay. Um, I've come to understand that the things that God deposits in us, He deposits them for purpose. And if God is depositing things in us for purpose, then that purpose is connected to certain people and individuals, situations, and locations. And so for me, I am revisiting things, right? I'm going back, I'm revisiting things. And today I had this huge epiphany. I had a huge epiphany. And guess what that epiphany was? That the vision that the Lord gave me for the Walters Academy for Entrepreneurship is a phenomenal vision. Not only is it a phenomenal vision, it's a phenomenal opportunity. And then I was looking back at some things, and I looked back at people I've been connected to throughout the process. And every single one of those people had a purpose. Every student that came through was significant. Everyone mattered. And it wasn't, and I want you to hear me, it wasn't that people were not supposed to be connected during that season. It wasn't that students were not supposed to be there at that season. It wasn't that it wasn't supposed to happen at that season. But this is the reality. There are people that are there for certain seasons, and then they must move on. They must. You must. We must move on. So as I thought about it, and I was looking at an open house we did last year, and I was listening to one of my students, one of my former students, talk about the system, I was blown away. Before COVID-19, I was connected to systems that would allow me to function during a pandemic. Before COVID-19, I already had a model where I was teaching students how to learn independently. Before COVID-19, I was teaching students how to not just work at school, but how to work at home. Before COVID-19, I was teaching parents how to be an integral part of their child's education. Before COVID-19, before the crisis, before the pandemic, God had already given me a vision that would transcend the pandemic, that would prepare the students, the parents for how to operate in a pandemic. Before any of the pandemic happened, I was already connected to the things necessary to take my students' education to the next level before the pandemic. What does that mean? It means that before the pandemic came, my connections were already set for where the world is going in terms of education. Before people could not go to a physical place of employment, I was teaching people entrepreneurship. I want y'all to hear me. Before before we began to see the things that happened and the people trying to figure out, where am I going to get my income? Where is this going to come from? How is this going to happen? How will I live? I was telling people, listen, you need to have your own. You need to have your own. You need to use technology. Don't be afraid of technology. Before Zoom was hot and popping, I was Zooming. Do you hear what I'm telling you? But not everyone could appreciate where I was when I was there before it became necessary. Are you connected to visionaries, or are you connected to followers? You see, at the end of the day, what I understand is connection to me is connection to vision, and a visionary, someone who's going to spark a visionary in you. See, I'm not interested in people becoming mini me's or clones of things and people that already exist. I'm interested in helping people birth that which is real, genuine, and creative. That is a vision from God, that God gives, that only God can take away. Listen, before there was a corona, before. So I was looking at what the curriculum that I use allows us to do and affords us to be able to do. And I said, I've been playing all the time. From the time I started, I always had this vision of being able to provide these educational resources to people around the country, around the globe. Like literally, I've always had international approach to education. And I always felt like that there would be Walters Academy for Entrepreneurship around the world. Like that's always been the vision for me, that there would be franchises in different geographical locations. And let me tell you what God spoke to me this morning. God began to speak to me and he said, listen, what you have is valuable. It's valuable and it's necessary. And now more than ever, people will be able to appreciate the value of the system that you've put in place. An educational system that's not based on time and seat, but your ability to complete and accomplish different tasks and develop competencies. See, education had been reduced to something that was just you sit in the seat, you take a test, you regurgitate the information, and it really was about that testing, baby. That testing thing was popping. So then, how do you evaluate successful education when you can't do those standardized tests the way you did? How do you evaluate a student's understanding when the methods that you have used traditionally, which are really ancient and archaic, are no longer available because you can't come together the way you did? You see, this is what I came to understand. I had been literally downplaying the value of a system that people pay tens of thousands of dollars for, that my students have access to, that I made sure they got access to be able to create for them an educational experience that was life changing. See, that's connections. Connections allow you to not just focus on the people that you're connected to, but the systems that you're connected to. When systems are designed to keep people in bondage, then guess what? You're connected to bondage, right? When systems are designed to empower and liberate, guess what? You're connected to liberation and empowerment. What are you connected to? I made a decision today. And that decision was simply this, that I was going to stop being selfish with my connections. So, as we are preparing for school to start back, I am actively, actively providing the opportunity for people all over the country to participate in the amazing way experience, an experience that results in entrepreneurs, an experience that encourages their entrepreneurial spirit, that growth mindset, an experience that teaches them competency over memorization, an experience that focuses on creating independent learners who are confident in their ability to do, learn, and to achieve, an experience that creates social entrepreneurs that will change the course of the world because they're allowed to think outside of the box, and not just allowed to, but encouraged to. An experience that takes them from ordinary and everyday to supernatural superheroes, because they learned how to tap into something that many adults have not learned how to tap into, and that's their purpose, their destiny, their gifts, and their superpower. An experience, but it's all about connection. And as I've watched God connect me to educators who have similar desires and want to do similar things, but they're in different geographical locations, I've literally watched him um, weave together a team of superstars who are getting ready to change the face of education as we know it. And wow, that's amazing to me. It's amazing to me for a number of reasons, but in particular, it's amazing to me because God gave the vision and gave me the fortitude and the persistence to create it, build it. There's a movie called Field of Dreams, and in the movie, they say, if you build it, they will come. And for 4 years, I built it. I worked on building it. I worked on mastering it. I worked on pulling the systems together, getting everything lined up for such a time as this. So I need you guys to understand that tomorrow, tomorrow I'm going to be releasing the link for people to be able to get more information and take advantage of a state of the art educational system that will produce entrepreneurs, that will allow your child to be validated and not just do busy work online for the sake of doing busy work, but they literally can have a virtual learning experience, which is huge, right? Can you imagine getting youth together from all over the country with different interests and talents and skills, and bringing them together in a mastermind situation where they're able to come together and mastermind and make one another better, where they're able to establish their morning routine, where they're able to learn emotional intelligence, where they're able to learn how to do virtually what many adults don't know how to do virtually or in person. And that's changed the world. It's happening, and it's happening tomorrow. So, listen, you guys, I'm super excited about this. I'm super excited about being able to share with you guys what is going on. Hmm. Yeah, before it happens, Sydney. Hey, Kim. So, this is what I want you to do. If you're a parent and you have children and you're trying to figure out what you're doing this next year, what you're doing as your child prepares to go back to school, as you're making decisions and you're having to make tough decisions, if you're a parent and you would love to know more about how to make the decisions and what your options are in terms of your child's education, I want you to put a comment in the box, and I want you guys to share this video. I want you to share it because we know the traditional educational system was designed during a pre um, technology stage, during an industrial stage when it was designed to create employees. If you know someone who wants their child to be a boss, who has an entrepreneurial spirit, who has an entrepreneurial mindset, they're the kids that tear stuff apart, and they may have struggled in traditional education, not because they couldn't do it, but because they didn't see the value in it, or it was boring, or they finished before everyone else. I want you to tag them in this video. I want you to share it. I want you to let people know that there is an alternative to just traditional online education, an alternative to just traditional education, that there is an alternative that will allow your child to operate and learn within a system designed specifically to meet the needs of our children. Who is ours? Those of us who are creative entrepreneurs, out of the box thinkers, who don't just go with the status quo. I made a conscious decision because I really tried to avoid being put in boxes. I tried to avoid being boxed in, locked in, I try to avoid it, and I try to avoid doing it to others. But this is what I've discovered about me, that I've been called to people who are collectivistic in their understanding and orientation in the world, people who believe in purpose, people who believe in cooperative economics, people who believe in working together to create change, not just temporary change, but substantive change. I've been called to young people, even though I don't necessarily always understand that. I don't understand why the kids love me like they do, but they do. And I can speak to them and speak to them about things that their parents may have spoken to them about, but they've not gotten through to them. And I have a team of success coaches because my whole view on the educational system is different. Like, I don't believe that teachers are designed to pour knowledge into people. I believe very much in a system that is designed and based on a cultural model that was appropriated, misappropriated, misused, and mismanaged. That went from a model where, yes, there was one who was a sage, one who had great wisdom, one who shared their knowledge, but it was not based on, I'm just going to tell you A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then repeat A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but one that was much more intuitive, where it began to ask questions. It was inquisitive. It made people think, a thinking approach to education versus a memorization approach to education. You want to know what's wrong with the world right now? People don't freaking know how to think their way out of a paper bag because they've been taught to just do what they are told. It is very much the reason we have a school to prison pipeline. The schools are designed to teach them how to walk the line, how to get up when someone says get up, sit down when someone says sit down, go when they say go, stop when they say stop, right? So, do what it says on the paper. I said, I want you to write it just like this, use this particular formula. I don't know if you guys in working with your kids and with their work have noticed that, like, even the way they tell them to do stuff sometimes is so convoluted and complex and stupid. Like, it's stupid. There's an easier way to get there, but they're taught that and punished if they don't do it. Huh. Not so. Listen, I want you to learn how to get the answer. I'm not concerned about you memorizing everything. Everything does it, but can you apply it? Can you apply the information? Well, that's the key. When we can raise a generation of people who know how to think creatively, to solve problems, who are able to operate with emotional intelligence, and they're able to move in uncertain times, then we've prepared the next generation. Why do we have the president we have? Because people want a king. People want a king. They don't want to do the work, and then they want to complain. No, we don't have time for that. We can't wait for a savior. There's no one who's going to come save us. I remember when my kids were growing up, I told them, listen, if you see a fat white man in our house, first of all, we don't have a chimney. But if you see a fat white man in our house, you better wake me up, get a bat, something. He's not supposed to be here. There is no such thing as Santa Claus. There is no great white savior who's going to save us and rescue us. But huh, what there is we've all been given the ability to obtain wealth. We've all been given the ability to create. We've all been given the ability to change our lives, and by changing our lives, change the lives of others and change the world. What I know is this: if we continue educating our children the way they're educated, well, I'm not even going to say us because most people are educating their children. If we continue to allow others to educate our children and tell them something's wrong with them because they have multiple thoughts going through their mind at the same time, allow other people to tell them that something is wrong with them because of how they learn and how they do what they do. If we continue to allow others to do that, then we ought not be surprised at what we get. But if we're serious about change, let's get serious about investing in our child's education and our children's education and doing something different, something out of the box. We've relied on everybody else to tell us how our children need to be educated. And the truth of the matter is they failed us and we failed our children, which is why I started the way. the Walters Academy for Entrepreneurs. And I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but clearly God brought me in this direction for a reason. I wanted to create a place where my creative sons could show up and express themselves. They didn't have to deny the musical side of themselves, the artistic side of themselves, the entrepreneurial side of themselves. They could learn how to use education and knowledge and how to learn for themselves and never have anyone tell them what they can't do because they know how to look it up for themselves, research it for themselves, find out for themselves. Problem is that we have allowed an educational system that is the antithesis of that to shape, mold, and develop our children. And then we're grateful when they give us gifted and talented slots. We're grateful when they give us opportunities to do some things. Listen, it's time for us to take our education back. If you want your child to experience something different, do something different for them. Now, if you're interested in that, I want you to reach out to me, comment me. I'll get you on our mailing list and I'll let you know. I'm getting ready to do a series of not really town hall meetings, but series of conversations about education to help parents really think about what it is that their child needs and how it is that they can best meet their need. Is the way for everybody? It absolutely is not. But there are some young people out there that the traditional educational system has tossed away. That the way is definitely for, because I can recognize their value and show them how to take their purpose and put it to work to build something that can change their life and create and build a lasting legacy. Education is not pouring information in, it's teaching people how to take knowledge, access it, apply it, and create something new. If all you're doing is regurgitating the same thing, that's not education, that's memorization. Education, true education, is transformational. It changes lives. What do you want? What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your children? We get to decide those things. And it's up to us to make those decisions and make those moves. I'm getting ready to work out because I know that a strong body creates a strong mind. And that's a part of my process. That's a part of what I teach the students. Like, you got to have fitness. You got to, engage in self-development. You got to learn how to read. And if not read, because you guys, can I tell you something? Listen, let me tell you something. We live in such a fast-paced world. And the reality is everyone doesn't learn the same way, which is another whole problem. And I'm going to do a session on that, learning styles and how to help your children use their learning styles for success. But everybody doesn't learn the same way. Everyone is not read right, but our educational system is definitely designed like that. In fact, the majority of African Americans learn in ways that are either multimodal or primarily oral, which is hearing, and kinesthetic, which is doing. Not that we can't read. We absolutely can read, right? That's not the issue. The issue is that that's not always necessarily the way that we learn the best, right? Does that mean don't read? No. But what it does mean is take advantage of technology. Do you know how many successful people, because of the time constraints, listen to audio books, right? That's oral learners. Oral learners need to hear it. They can't get it with just reading it. They need to hear it, hear it, hear it, hear it, right? Kinesthetic learners need to do it. They need to, be able to see it and be hands on. And that's how they learn. You guys, listen, visual learners need to have color and graphics, and they need to have all of that, right? And read right needs to read it, write it, underline it, outline it, and do all of those things. But we're not always taught that. So what I've learned is how to help people understand who they are, how they learn, what their strengths are, and put it to work. Because listen, education is not one size fits all. And that's the problem. We've tried to make it one size fits all. It doesn't work like that. So let's create individualized learning opportunities for our young people so they can learn the way they learn best and learn how to use those things that are their strengths and leverage them to get the things done that they have to get done. There are things we have to do. It's a reality. So you guys, listen. Thank you guys for listening this morning. Listen, connections. What are you connected to? Who are you connected to? And what does it mean? One of my students, and this is one of my adult students, said, Dr. V, listen, I'm connected to you because I want to learn what you know. I want to learn what you know so that I can do what it is that I've been called to do. We're trying to make them go to college and get a job. Listen, I'm a college professor. I understand and I appreciate higher education, but it's not for everyone. And even higher education is failing people. Um, because it doesn't give them what they necessarily really need to be successful. A lot of theory, a lot of what ifs, maybe possibly that's outdated. Like it doesn't even keep up with the times. As soon as a textbook is published, there are new things going on. Like we literally are using very outdated systems of education. This is what I do know. I know that our children are created for greatness. Every single one of us are created for greatness. And we need some people who can believe in us, who can see that greatness and nurture it and help us grow it. Y'all, let's create change around the globe. I'm telling you, God just deposited something huge in my spirit, and I'm getting ready to go to work on it because I don't believe this is just for the US. I believe that there is something international that I have to do, and I'm going to do it. I refuse to be stopped, because there's too many resources out there that I know if people just knew exist, they could create the life, the lifestyle, and the financial situation that they need in their life. Love you guys to life and life more abundant. Let me know. Let me know if you want to know more about this educational system, if you want to know more about these possibilities and opportunities, if you want to know more about how you, your family, your business can be a part of what we're doing. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Be blessed.